All right, Evie. Now we get to me, one of the funniest parts in the whole book was the proposal by Mr. Collins to Elizabeth. Mr. Collins is a complete joke. He is not antisocial. He is socially awkward. You understand the difference between the two? There's somebody who's antisocial. That means they're not really putting forth much of an effort. In fact, they're kind of antagonistic toward people. But socially awkward people, or maybe people that don't know what to do, but they try or something, and Mr. Collins falls completely into that socially awkward category. Now, Mr. Collins, he has a stable, financial situation. He's a member of the clergy, okay? He's got a nice little parsonage to live in, and there's Miss de Berg, who is she provides consistent financial support to him, right?
That's right, yeah.
And she's well-to-do, and so he's got that nice little, on paper, a nice little stable position there. Now,
and he's going to inherit Mr. Bennet's estate.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. He's going to inherit Mr. Bennett's estate. That is exactly right. So he's got a nice, stable position. Any woman who was really looking for stability would really be, Collins is a good match on paper, but on the trade-off, he's Mr. Collins.
That's right.
He's socially awkward, and he falls in. He has this tendency that men have a tendency to do. Women have their tendencies, their bad tendencies, and men have their bad tendencies. And how do I know? Because I am capable of doing this too. And here's what it is. Men find themselves more attractive or more appealing than they actually are. You know what I mean? And Mr. Collins thinks that he's more appealing than he really is. And sometimes if I start to think that way, here's why knowing yourself and knowing your deficiencies is so well. If I start to think, I'm trying to be cute or whatever, you're not being that cute, and so he thought men do that. Men oftentimes think that they're more appealing than they actually are. And if a woman is, and this doesn't really have anything to do with the book, but I don't do this now. I'm married, because I don't care. I have 2 minivans. I've got 4 kids. I don't care about being cool anymore. But like if you were younger and unmarried, okay, if a woman was nice to you, like let's say a waitress in a restaurant or something, and she smiles at you and she's nice, a man is immediately going to think, or at least most men, she likes me. She's being nice to me. She must romantically like me. But then you have to remember, well, they do work on tips, so I don't think she really likes you. She's just angling for a good tip, and men oftentimes think that they're more appealing than they are, and they can misinterpret, a woman just being polite for a woman thinking that woman actually likes them. And Mr. Collins does that here, okay? He thinks he's more of a catch than he really is, correct? I mean, he's got a good little situation, but he's got a lot of hang-ups with him too, right?
Yeah. Well, talk about not knowing what you don't know. One of my favorite lines with Mr. Collins is when he's going to introduce himself to Mr. Darcy at the ball, and we understand in that social context this is just a huge faux pas. You don't go up to your social superior and introduce yourself. You would do that now. That's
right.
With some, it wouldn't be the thing now that it is. That it would be then, although in some cases it would be. But he's just going to go up to Mr. Darcy and introduce himself, and Elizabeth is like, no, you really shouldn't do that. And I love this. He says, my dear Miss Elizabeth, I have the highest opinion in the world of your excellent judgment in all matters within the scope of your understanding. I love it. This is the way.
He's so above
as
her.
A woman, we've all interacted with men who are like that, of, you ladies, I have so much respect for you ladies within the scope of your understanding.
Yeah, I'm so much above you. Oh, look at you trying to make an effort. I know so much more than you do. He's totally, that makes him, it's so off-putting and unappealing, but it's so funny at the same time. He's a real piece of work. He's really, he really thinks highly of himself. Mr. Collins thought too well of himself to comprehend on what motive his cousin could refuse him. I mean, when he asked Elizabeth to marry him, he couldn't think of any reason why she would be saying no. And even though she was clearly saying no, I understand that you have to go through these motions. You have to, in order to be modest, and you have to, he really didn't think, he thought that he was really a good catch. And for somebody to say no to him was not really part of the equation. For somebody who was I don't know, he really thought somebody who had such deficiencies, I guess I'll say, he really thought highly of himself.
Well, he's totally unaware of that, though. And he makes up these little compliments, and he thinks that everybody is so charmed by them. And you have to feel sorry for him, because he really does. That's why it's funny and not just malicious. He's not trying to bully Elizabeth at all. Like, he sincerely believes that his own judgment is better, and that's what's hilarious about it.
He almost believes he's doing her a favor.
Yes, he believes that he is being kind to her.
Yes,
he's right. She's wrong, but he's going to say it in a polite way. I have so much respect for your judgment.
I'm going to set you straight there.
He's going to be kind to her, but but put her in her place, because he knows so much more about society than she does, and that's why it's funny. And I think he's a young man, and I think that happens to young men a lot.
Yes.
They haven't had someone to sort of explain things or put them in their place, and they think they know things. And it happens to women as well, but you particularly see that sometimes.
I found this comment to be quite funny. As per Mr. Collins, it does not appear to me that my hand is unworthy your acceptance, or that the establishment I can offer would be any other than highly desirable. In other words, he's a highly desirable guy. I can't imagine any reason why you would say no. Your acceptance to not do so is obviously based on ignorance. It's not based on any sound judgment, and he just has such a high opinion of himself. I just found that's what got me to really laugh at first. I was kind of just like, ugh. But then as he went on, I couldn't help but just start laughing at the guy. It became so comedic because it was so obnoxious.
Well, you can see where he gets, because first of all, I think he's not super perceptive of how other people are responding. And she's saying no, and he's not listening. He's not hearing what she's saying. But his understanding of how society works is not totally wrong. Like you said, he is a catch in many ways. He's already got a good income. He's going to have an even better income in the future. And his character is not bad. He's a well-meaning guy. He's not going to run around on you. He's not going to abuse you. He's not an alcoholic. There's so many bad things that he is not. He's an okay guy. He's just, the problem is a smart woman can't respect him. That's really just the only real problem with him. He is an okay guy.
And he is completely under the thumb of Lady de Burgh.
Well, that's right, yeah.
In everything he does, he has to, again, seek her approval and seek her opinion. And that's the reason why he's hunting a wife in the first place, is because she told him it was about time he got married.
I love it when he's explaining the reasons for marriage, and he gets to, number 3, my noble patrons, and he goes, number 3, which perhaps I should have mentioned first.
He has such a list. Anytime you have a list of reasons why we should get married, I think you're already fighting from behind at that point. It's an uphill battle then.
Oh boy!
I can see if a PowerPoint were back, he would have a PowerPoint display and like a little laser pen pointing to everything. Here's why this business transaction makes sense. I like, and Elizabeth, she tries to be polite. She really, and this is what I admire. She tries to be polite, and then she never does get really rude, but she does have to get very blunt with them. He will not accept no for an answer. He thinks she's putting on a show, or doing the socially acceptable modesty thing, and she's like, no, look, I'm not going. She tells him, you could not make me happy, and I am convinced that I'm the last woman in the world who would make you so. She said, I'm persuaded that she would find me in every respect ill-qualified for the situation. She's telling him, I'm not the woman for you. You're not the man for me. You would not make me happy. I know I would not make you happy, and nor would I make this Lady de Burgh happy. So I'm not just saying no. It's not just you repulse me. I wouldn't be good for you either. This would not be a happy marriage. And then she said something I underlined here in the book. I really like this. She says, "Do not consider me now as an elegant female intending to plague you, but as a rational creature speaking the truth from her heart." I mean, she said that. I mean, I don't know how more bluntly. I am telling you the truth. You know, you must give me leave to judge for myself, and that right there is the appeal of Elizabeth. She is independent. She will not compromise on her own integrity and on her own values, her own principles. She will not do it. Some people, this is what people do. They call independent people stubborn. They like with her parents. You know, make her come to reason. You know, Mrs. Bennet. Oh, I will make her come to reason. I will make her marry you. And then when she can't do it, she runs off to Mr. Bennet. Make her see reason here. You know, like make her. And Elizabeth will not be made to do anything. You know, they call people like that stubborn. They call people like that hard-headed. They won't listen to reason. That's what they call independent people. And she's not being, I mean, she's being stubborn, I guess, in a good sense. The fact that she won't compromise. You know, there's a good stubborn, there's a bad stubborn. I would say good stubborn would be more just, you know, convicted. You know, she's standing in her convictions. And it was this scene right here where I always kind of liked Elizabeth, you know, but it was this scene right here that really, okay, I like this girl. You know, I like her. I can really get behind her now because she was really put to the test. And she was, if she were really cared about being socially taken care of, you know, having a good social circumstance, she would have taken this here. She would have compromised. But and she would have inherited her own estate, you know, because he was set to inherit that estate, and she would, and then of course her family would be well taken care of as well, whatever. But she says, nope, I'm going to do the right thing, and let me make up my own mind, and that's respectable to me. That she earned my full respect right there, in spite of whatever her flaws may be. My full respect goes out to Elizabeth Bennet right there. This is what a strong female looks like. This is what a strong person looks like. Somebody who will not compromise. And I love this character. I love her. She's an excellent female character, an excellent character in general.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And yeah, to back up what you're saying, what Mr. Collins mentions in this scene, he says, well, there's no guarantee you'll ever get another proposal of marriage. He is absolutely correct. And that's what's at stake here. She has such a regard for what marriage is that even doing something that's going to seem like not just good for her, but could provide for her family. I mean, there is an argument to be made, a sort of utilitarian argument, that it would be the right thing for her to marry Mr. Collins. It's going to be the best for everybody. You need to compromise your own personal little desires to have a love marriage. But that's not right. I mean, she understands that marriage is something sacred. It is not a tool to be used to guarantee social position or economic advantage. She understands no matter how much it might benefit me or other people, this is a misuse of what marriage is.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, do you agree with that? I don't think this is just about Elizabeth is a romantic and she's got these ideals and she wants to fall in love and have this, you know, romantic love story. I think it's a real integrity that she understands. This is not the way you treat marriage, which is a sacred bond. This is not the way you treat other people, because this is using other people as an object to get an economic advantage. And I think she understands that's wrong. And
that's what makes this a moral issue. That's what makes it's not just some dumb 100%. Decision. It is a moral to compromise and treat somebody as a means to an end is an immoral thing to do. And to compromise on your integrity and what you know to be right is a moral thing. And Elizabeth is a moral character. She is a good example of somebody who will stand firm to do what is right, not just what's best for them, but the morally right thing to do. And, you know, the Bible's very clear. You do not dishonor the marriage bed. You know, you do not dishonor marriage. That's not something you enter into lightly. And Elizabeth understands that. It is of the highest regard. You know, God, in Scripture, there are three social institutions. There's the family, there's the civil government, and there's the church. And before all of those things, the family was formed first there in the garden with Adam and Eve. And that is something, therefore, It should not be taken lightly. It is a pillar and a foundation of a stable society. And Elizabeth understands that. So it's not just about,
Absolutely.
I want whatever makes me happy. I mean, she understands what true happiness
Yes.
is. Happiness is not just having things and having a stable situation in a house to live in. True contentment comes from having values and achieving those values and doing it in a principled and moral way and not compromising. I mean, having things that you want to do and not compromising in achieving those things. And she wants a real marriage, not just a marriage of convenience, but a marriage that is grounded in spiritual affection. I mean, she loves this person. She understands his faults. He understands her faults, but yet they love each other anyway. And they realize that together they can do something and be something really special, and they don't have to be cynical and bitter, but they can actually show love. And that's what true marriage is. And is it work? Yes, it's work. Of course it's work. Anytime two people get together to try to do something, it's work, especially when it's two sinners, come together. It's going to be work and they're going to be hard times, but you do it, that the love overcomes that. And Elizabeth understands that. And that's why she is just an example that I will point to my children when they get to the point, men or women, boys or girls, they'll read this book.
Yes.
I'll say, this is how you need to be when it comes to standing up for what you believe and not taking the easy way out. There's a big difference between taking the easy way out and doing the right thing. And Elizabeth she took the chance. She took the chance and did the right thing.
Yes, it was risky. And the stakes have been ratcheted up for her.
They have, yes.
You understand what might become of her. There's several different bad things that could happen to her. If she were to go into a marriage like this, she could end up becoming bitter and cynical and disrespectful, like her father. She could become something like that. Or she could become all these things that she recognizes are bad. And she's made that first decision that she's not going to be like that. But it could come with a price.
She takes a sure thing and throws it out the window, because it's not the right thing. And she understands that. And that's good. And that's, like I said, that's respectable. And that's what a strong woman looks like. Forget man, woman. That's what a strong human being looks like. And that's worthy of respect right there. It's very well written.